Well, unfortunately, we see this all too often. A very famous celebrity like Prince dies without a will, and his estate is in litigation for years. That doesn't need to happen. We'll be talking to an estate planner next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is The Jeff Crilley Show.
I don't know about you, but it's unbelievable to me that some of these amazing international superstars like Aretha Franklin can pass, but their affairs are not in order, and so then the family begins a court fight that can last for years. Somebody who knows a lot about that is my next guest, Ryan Peabody. He's with the Peabody Law Firm. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, I'm delighted to be here, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
And right before the show, we were comparing notes, and we started to list some celebrities. Go ahead and run down some of the ones that come to mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's celebrities that die all the time, and they're in the news. Prince, I think you mentioned Prince. Michael Jackson, Philip Seymour Hoffman. I remember that, how tragic. People like Robin Williams. These people pass away, and they die, and they don't have a will, they don't have a trust, and all it does is it takes this legacy that they built up over the course of their own career with their massive talent, and it really diminishes and deteriorates it in an unnecessary court battle.
Sure, and sometimes the kids and the grandkids can spend so much money fighting, it kind of wipes away the whole estate, doesn't it?
It's really unfortunate. The only people that win are the lawyers, and that is certainly not the objective.
Sure.
They earn that money through their skill and their talent, and we want them to pass that money to their own kids, to their own legacy. Maybe those kids can get involved in philanthropy or expand their own talents.
You were mentioning before the show that the longest legal battle is over John Wayne, lasted 20 years?
John Wayne, yeah, it lasted at least a couple of decades. It finally got settled, and it was just over things that they really shouldn't have been fighting over. A lot of it was just his estate, which, looking back on it now, is relatively small compared to these large estates that we see today. And it's really unfortunate.
Why do you think stars like Prince didn't spend any time thinking about the future?
That's a good question. I'll tell you what my observations are, and perhaps even anecdotally in my own practice over the last decade or so, have been, you have these people that are just so talented. I think of the legacy example of Elvis Presley. We had this American icon that rose up with an incredible amount of talent, and people build walls around him so they can extract that talent over the course of his career. And he's living in kind of almost this synthetic world. And he is just not exposed to money management, let alone estate planning. And it's just something that's not on his radar.
Sure.
And unfortunately, you see from time to time that their managers, and not all managers are bad, but their managers want them to be focused on what they're doing, their talent, and they don't want any distractions to that. So I think estate planning is this little line item. It's very important,
Sure.
but it kind of gets put off to the side so they can focus on other things.
I want to brag about your law firm, because you've been in the practice of law for how many years now?
Over 10 years now.
10 years. We're going to put his website up on the screen, and as we scroll down the website, talk about the growth of the firm over the years.
Yeah, so we started out doing basic estates and business. Mm-hmm. Pardon me. That's been my my training all the way back in law school, and my internships and sort of those fundamental points in time. Then I recognize the need to do things with law that are very customer focused. Law tends to be a little bit cold. You get in front of lawyers, and it's not as personal as I'd like it to be. And so we wanted to be customer focused. How do we deliver complex legal in a way that's understandable and accessible, reasonably priced, hopefully? And that's kind of been our fundamentals. And so from the fundamentals, we built into taking on more and more complex estates to the point where I spend actually the most of my personal time at the firm working on very large complex estates, and my team tag teams with me.
Sure.
Great team. And to do kind of the everyday to day, and we put those together as best we can.
You mentioned your team. We're going to put up a team photograph, and I want you to brag about the folks you've surrounded yourself with.
Yeah, so you'll notice it's all women. It kind of evolved like that. It's just one of those quirky things where working with smart, capable, smart women has worked well for me. We have an office that just respects everyone, and they put in good effort, and we're a team. And I've been just very fortunate to find people that love what they do. I love working with them, and they're just really enjoyable for our clients and our core values.
I bet in a certain way you almost become therapists because you're dealing with a family's entire net worth, and the drama between them and the kids. You mentioned before the show sometimes a person has built a large business and the kids may or may not even want the business. So speak to that.
Every family has drama. The really good families, the families that have more challenges than most, they all have drama. You avoid the drama by putting all the pieces on the table. You talk about them, you process through them, and you design plans that match that family's goals and objectives long term. So a lot of the family drama can really be settled. And I mean, I have people in my office, they've lost a loved one, and they're sitting there and they're crying, and I say something along the lines of, yeah, it gets to me sometimes.
Sure.
And you look at them and you just say, I'm sorry for your loss and condolences to your family under those circumstances, and I truly mean that. And then I look at them and I say, let me bring just a sense of professionalism to this challenge you're going through. Let me bring a little bit of transactional work to it.
Sure.
And almost always they calm down. They say, yes, I would like that. This process is confusing to me. I don't necessarily know what it is.
Yes.
Come alongside me, guide me, and help me get to that finish line, and let me focus on my grieving and my family under, if someone's been lost, and let me take comfort in knowing that I've got my legal taken care of.
Yes. We've got some video from our library that we're going to share with you right now. And as we're putting this up, when should somebody begin talking to a guy like you?
If you're going to do estate planning, it's always the, pardon me, it's always the earlier the better with estate planning. I tend to start servicing clients that have not just their job, but their career. They've really started their career. Most of them have finished their education. Most of them are married with kids. They own a home. They're a professional in some capacity. They're growing their career, and they just, they have things like insurance, and they want to get their estates in order. And that's kind of our entry level. That's our first touch point, and then we can evolve it from there.
Sure. And we're coming, I guess we're in it, the greatest transfer of wealth in U.S. history.
There are two fundamental things happening in society right now that are profound, that nobody is talking about, that nobody knows. Not only are the baby boomers transferring trillions, that's trillions with a T, Jeff, transferring trillions of dollars to the next generation, really the millennials. Right now, we're in the middle of it, and it's going to go on for the next 10 or 15 years as these people age out and start passing away. That is profound. It is the biggest shift of wealth in history, certainly in America, and it's amazing. The other major thing that's happening right now that is shocking, that no one knows about, is that the federal estate tax exemption, the amount of money that you can transfer from yourselves, so mom and dad, if you will, to your kids from one generation to the next, is going to be cut in half at the end of 2025. So the amount of people that are going to fit into this bucket is going to expand dramatically. So that's something that people really should be aware of and really clued into as we move forward through this year and into 2025.
Sure. Okay, Ryan, we've only got a couple minutes left, so I want you to share final thoughts and speak to that person who really hasn't even started the process of looking at a will or looking at a trust.
Yeah, final thoughts are really easy. Talking to a lawyer can be not everybody's favorite thing to do. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. The best thing to do is pick up the phone, make an appointment. We don't charge for a consultation. We don't want to have barriers of entry when people are planning for their families. So make a consultation. It'll be just like this conversation. What have you done for a living? Where do you live? Who's your family? And how can we help? We really try to be customer focused in delivering what can be complex and overwhelming. We're the professionals. We'll get it to our clients in a meaningful way, in an efficient way, and give them really good quality legal in the process.
Outstanding. This has been a great segment. We're going to end with his website, which is peabodylawfirm.com. The great Ryan Peabody. Thanks for coming on the show.
My pleasure, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.